is Zinal Bhagat. Welcome back to Code Run Education. Today I will show you how to add button and how to go from one activity to other when you click that button. That means you will learn how to jump from one page to another in your Android application. So let's start from where we left in previous video. In last video we developed a simple application which was showing hello world text message on our screen. I am going to update the same application in this video. If you have not created any application yet, you can go to my previous video by clicking I button on top right corner of your screen. So let's open our application and go to XML file activity_main, which is under folder app, res and then layout. Let's open this app. When our activity_main file is open, let's change this text hello world. You can change this text by going to text tab from here or from the design tab from attribute panel from here. I always prefer to change any properties from text tab because I find it easy and also it enhances my knowledge of coding. As you can see, multiple properties are defined in text view, from which text is important right now. You can change the display text from here. Let me write first activity. ID is the most important property of any XML field. Let me define ID first. Let's call this text view first text. Okay, ID is the most important property because it is used to access that particular XML field in backend coding. That means if you want to use this text view in your activity file or in backend coding, this text view is accessible by ID property. Let's preview this layout. Okay, let me change the size of this text. To change the text size, you have to define the property text size and 30 sp. Okay, now it's fine. Now let me add a button below that. To add button, simply you have to drag and drop the button widget from this palette panel. First of all, you should define an ID of this button. This should become your every time habit. Means you must define ID of any field you add to your layout screen. Let me define button 1 as the ID of this button. And now let me change the display text on this button to click this button. There is a small error in our button widget. Just hover your mouse to this red line and you can see the error is this view is not constrained. It only has design time position, so it will jump to 00 at runtime unless you add the constraint. Okay, so let's change our layout to linear layout. Here constraint layout is given. After changing to linear layout, your screen will something look like this. Let's design this screen more and put this text and our button to the center of the screen. Let me define some properties to do that. Now when we are done designing our first screen layout, let's go to activity file and write the backend code here. To go to your activity file, just go to Java folder, and then under the first folder you can find your activity file, which is main activity here. Let's open this file. Remember this. Every time when you finish designing, very first thing you should always do is to declare all the fields you have used in XML file. I have used two XML fields, button and text view. So I will declare variables of that fields or make an objects of them like this. Now we have to initialize it, and to access that node we will use method find view by id like this. Here we have to pass the id of our button. Okay, now here all the IDs are saved in the basic class of the Android, which we can access from class R, and then ID, and when you click Control space bar, you can get your button's ID, which is button 1. Now we have access to our button 1. When we have access of this button, we have to add click event on it. To add any event in Android, we have to define listener method. For click event, we have OnClickListener. So let's see how to add this listener on button. There are multiple ways to define the OnClickListener. First way is to define our OnClickListener within our OnCreate method like this. For this method, you have to set OnClickListener on your button. So first of all, call up your button, click button dot write set on, and when you write just this, the Android Studio would show you some options. From that option, you can find set on click listener option. Select that. In the bracket, write declare new object for OnClickListener, new OnClickListener. Okay, select this first option. Okay, so like this, we can declare our listener in the OnCreate method. In this space, you can write your code for which your button is clicked. But there are some reasons I avoid this way. One reason is because it makes your OnCreate method more clumsy. It clutters up the code of your OnCreate method. Second is it really don't make use when you have to declare more than one on-click listeners. Means suppose you have 10 buttons on single screen, you have to implement this code, means this listener 10 times for all of your 10 buttons. Means 10 times you have to copy and paste this code. In short, it doesn't promote the code reusability. So let's see our next method to declare OnClickListener. In this method, we declare a new class that implements OnClickListener, and then we assign that class to our button. And just open and close the curly brackets. Now you can see the red line under our class definition. Just go to the name of your class, place your cursor on this name, and press the shortcut key Alt plus Enter, and this window will pop up which says implement methods. So select this first option, and Studio will ask to select the implement methods. Click OK. Okay, now the OnClickListener is implemented on this class. Let me delete this code first. Now we will assign this class to this button. So write the name of the button and dot set OnClickListener. Here we will write the name of this class and make a new object of it by writing new space button listener, which is the name of our public class. Okay, so we are done. Another option is to implement OnClickListener directly to our main class. Here main activity is our main class. We can implement our OnClickListener here by typing implements OnClickListener. Just go to name of our class and press Alt plus Enter and select implement methods. Click OK. Here you can write up your methods, which is called when your click button is clicked. For the multiple buttons, we have to define switch case. Here you have to call the ID of your button. Say for example, you have another button. The ID of that button is button 2. So you have to define another case for that button, like r.id.button2. And then you can write your methods when your button 2 is clicked. And to assign this implementation method, just write click button dot set OnClickListener and this. After declaring our OnClickListener, we have to create a new activity which will be shown on this button click. So to create a new activity, just go to File menu, New. At the end of this pop-up menu, you can see the activity option is given. Select empty activity. Here the studio is asking for the name of your activity. I will write second activity. Here is the layout name of your activity, means the name of your XML file. Now click on the finish button. So our second activity is created. Go to the XML file activity underscore second and let's place the simple text view by dragging the text view widget from our palette. Let's change some of properties of this text view field. When we completed the designing of our second activity, let's go back to main activity, where we have to write the code for the button click event here. We have to write the code to start a new activity. For that, intent is used. In the bracket, you have to write up which activity you want to call. And then start my second activity. Now let's run our app and check the output. Now let's run our app and check the output. So our application is running now. When you click this button, it takes you to another activity. You can declare another button in your second activity here, which will take you to your previous activity. You can implement it by yourself as your further practice exercise. As you can see, we have successfully implemented button click listener to that button and also started another activity from button click event. In next video, I will come up with another excited tutorial of Android application. So this is it for today. Goodbye everyone.